Hello, welcome to My Messy Fingers. I'm Charlie. I have a new album that I've finished. It features Ciao Bella's Celestial. The album measures 9 by 9. I did wrap my album in dark blue cardstock, and then I framed it with gold cardstock so it would help pull the colors from the collection. This base page, when I cut it to fit this moon or sun that's over here, I carried it here to the spine, and then on the spine I put a little small tag with a brass element. On the front here, this piece of paper has this cluster of flowers, and I did cut this out. I mounted this on some really thick cardstock, and then used foam pop-ups, and then foam pop-ups here on the stars. This has been matted on gold cardstock, and it's also popped up with some foam pop-ups. And then I cut the moon out, and then the gold cardstock for the backing, and I hand cut this. And then this was trimmed out and backed on blue cardstock. And then this moon here is backed by some gold cardstock with a foam pop-up on the back, so it placed it in the center of the sun. The word celestial actually came off the bottom of one of the 10 by 10s that you have the alphabet on one side, and then there is the name of the paper on the other side. So I cut that out so I could put that down here. I use this cutout that says, "Never forget what you are." Use some brass elements that were sent to me by Scrap and Create. That's who sent me this beautiful collection to play with. So we get back to the spine. This is the back piece, and here's another tag that has a quoted saying on it. So let's get inside and let's take a look. This paper is so beautiful. Even my husband liked it. So here we've got our first signature. This opens up. And then here we have some possible photo mats. I've made a couple of tucks here. And then these open this way. And here you've got either another photo mat or you can just create a tuck. I've got both of them. These are small tags I used as the tucks. This is a big pocket, one of the cutouts that's in the collection. And then a big old pocket down here at the bottom. And then we have on this side, one of the clock elements that I actually fussy cut. It's got a rough edge. I really liked it. So then I backed it on blue cardstock with one of my cutting dies. And then we have another nice big pocket here. Here, this is a flip up, but before I do that, she's holding a ball, a crystal ball maybe. I did add some Wink Estella to that so that that would actually shine when you looked at this signature. This is one of those half pages, so I used it to create the closure for this. Here up above is a long pocket tuck. This scroll with this ribbon is actually on one of the small tags that's in this collection. I wanted this element, not the whole thing, so I just fussy cut that and put that on there. And then down here we've got something inside her was made of moonflowers. I love these flowers. They're so pretty. Then you've got a nice spot here. If you want to save the flowers, you can put a photo here. Over here, we've got a big pocket. Open this up, and you've got a small pocket here on this side. And then on these two flaps, this one we have a long pocket on. And then when you open this up, these two elements here came off of one of the 12 by 12s, and it has, in the center of it is the hot air balloon. I'm going to show you what I did with that later, but these are off the left and right sides. And each one of these is a tuck. And then we've got some of the cards. Open this up and you've got some photo mats, and then you've got a big pocket here. And then this is one of the tags. This is so pretty. And then we're going to close this. Close it again. There we go. And then there are 2 pull-outs. They're 8 by 8. I'm not going to pull them all the way out. And then here we have, this is one of the large 5 3/4 cutout cards. Open it. Because this is a magnet closure, I would not put photo here, but I would certainly maybe hand journal. This is light enough that you could do that. And then this is 1 sheet of paper. I cut so that the castle is on one side and then the hot air balloon is on the other. And then when you open this up, we've got bottom and top tucks on both sides. I've got the small elements of moon, and I used some Wink Stella on the moon so they would stand out a little bit. And then we've got some photo mats, we've got a big pocket, and then off of one of the strips from a previous cut, I had these flowers. So I use them here to accent this, and then this is one of the small tags, and we've got a big pocket here. Going the wrong way. There we go. All right, so on this, I trimmed this to fit because I really wanted this to be the focal. And then I ran this through my cutting machine and cut the circle out, mounted it on a grocery box type material, and then put some pop-ups on it so this would stand up a little bit. So then when you open it up, on this side we have a belly band. Again, this is one of the small cutout cards, and I did some Wink Stella here again. Here's the other moonflower, and then this is a nice big pocket, and then we also have a tuck up here. Opening this up, this is the other side where we've got a double stack pocket here and here. Then we've got a big pocket here. This is a tuck using one of the tags, and then the lion is backed on gold cardstock and placed here. This is what I did with the hot air balloon. This particular piece of paper has a hot air balloon image on it, but I went to that one sheet that has the 2 goddesses on either side, and this is in the center. So I cut that out, backed it on some cereal box like material, foam pop-up so that this would be raised up a little bit. Then you have this beautiful image, and then when you open this up, we've got a pocket on both sides. I'm using a couple of the postage stamps as embellishments, and then we've got one of these, the tags. This actually is a little bit larger, but I trimmed it down to fit. And then we've got a photo mat here. You have a tuck here. And then when you turn this over, you've got these beautiful moonflowers. And then here is a nice big long tuck, and you can still commit some fairly good sized photos on that page. And then last, we've got this piece here. The reverse side of this is the goddess that's got sun rays around her, but when you flip that over, this is the image that you have there, and because I was using these, this is what I chose here on the front. I used some Wink Stella here on these gold threads in between the planets, and then when you pop this up, we've got a nice tag here, tuck, and then you can put a photo here if you wish. When you open this, you can see we've got side pockets on both of these, and these strips match the paper that's up here, so that there was a bit of a continuation, a flow of color and pattern. And then we've got 2 waterfalls. This waterfall is a little bit larger. This will hold a photo that is roughly 3.5 to 3 3/4, and this one will hold photos that are about 3 3/8 to 3.5. There's 5 of each sides. I did use some of the scraps and covered one side. You can cover both if you wish. And then I've got big spot back here for a large photo. And then you close this back up, and there you go. That is my version of Celestial by Ciao Bella. Now, Scrap and Create sent me this entire collection to play with, including the brass elements that I've used throughout the album. If you want to buy this, swing on over to their website, pick up the collection. You'll get the brass elements while supplies last, and then you can follow the tutorial and you can make your own. So I appreciate you following along, and I'll see you on the next build. Bye-bye.